Yeah, there we are.
Okay. Welcome all to match 402. This is FLQL season 3, game week 5. Today we have Manav on seat 1, we have Seoan on seat 2, we have Shree on seat 3 and Aaran on seat 4. Standard rules apply. Make sure I can see your hands at all times and do not discuss the questions with anyone till the end of the game week. We'll have 30 seconds for your direct and 5 seconds for a past question. With that said, everyone ready? Manav, your first question on the screen. All the best, everyone.
One sec. Should I open chats? Or?
No need.
It'll appear on the screen.
Yeah. So, Manav, ready? All the best, everyone. Which ancient supercontinent that broke up about 180 million years ago was named by Austrian geologist Edward Suess after a region of central India? It made up around 2/3 of today's continental area.
Gondwana land.
Gondwana land is correct, from Gond region of central India. And Manav, your second question. Which country has been ruled by the MPLA, Movimento Popular de Libertação de Blanc, since independence in 1975? It fought the Portuguese and then fought internal opponents in the Civil War. Some of its prominent leaders include Agostinho Neto and João Lourenço.
Angola.
Angola is perfect. Go to Sean's direct now. Sean, your first question. The 1996 Ig Nobel Peace Prize was awarded to which then President of France for commemorating the 50th anniversary of Hiroshima with atomic bomb tests in the Pacific. He served as the president till 2007 and passed away in 2019.
Chirac?
Yeah, that's correct. This is Jacques Chirac. And your second question, Sean. In ancient Greek religion and mythology, the 9 muses are inspirational goddesses of literature, science, and arts. Who was considered the chief of all muses, with the name meaning beautiful voice? This muse of epic poetry is referenced in the following lines from Bob Dylan's song Mother of Muses. I'm falling in love with blank. She doesn't belong to anyone. Why not give her to me?
Calliope?
That is correct. Go to Shree's direct. Shree, your first question. Which 1994 film is named after a quote in the Confucian classic Book of Rites, which begins, "The things which men greatly desire are comprehended in meat and drink and sexual pleasure." The opening sequence, in which Sunday lunch is prepared, took over a week to film and was done with the help of an actual master chef.
Is it The Remains of the Day?
Not The Remains of the Day. Aaron?
Pass.
Manav?
The Joyla Club?
No. Sean?
Can't think of it. Pass.
Okay. It's called Eat, Drink, Man, Woman. It's a Chinese movie called Yu Shi Nan Nu. English translation is Eat, Drink, Man, Woman.
Okay.
And Shree, your second question. Sidney Poitier played a police detective in a trilogy of films ending with the organization in 1975. What was the name of this police detective referenced in the second film's title, which was in turn a quote from In the Heat of the Night, the first film in the trilogy?
Tibbs. Tibbs.
Virgil Tibbs is correct. Call Me Mr. Tibbs is the second film in the trilogy. And so, Aaron, your first question. Which centre-left party has been in power in South Africa since the election of Nelson Mandela at the first free and fair elections in 1994? Cyril Ramaphosa, the incumbent president of South Africa, has served as the party's president since December 2017.
ANC.
ANC or African National Congress, both are correct. And Aaron, your last question of round 1. This adult game was developed by 8 high school alumni drawing inspiration from the popular Apples to Apples card game. Funded via a Kickstarter campaign, the card game is moderated by a card czar, supposed to be the person who most recently defecated. Which adult party game is this that was initially called Carden Friday as a pun on Schaden Friday?
Cards Against Humanity.
And that is correct. Within round 2, Manav, your first question. The theme of which TV show has a secret message hidden within it, spelling out www.alan0 and stephenhero.com in Morse code? This site redirects you to a YouTube playlist of clips from the show.
Pass. Thank you.
Okay, Sean,
QI?
that is correct. This is Stephen Fry and Alan Davis in QI. Quite interesting.
Oh,
And so, Manav, your second one. In paleontology, Lazarus taxon refer to species or populations that were thought to be extinct and are rediscovered. After the last known member died in a zoo in 1981, a specimen was rediscovered in 2019 of the Rio apaporis speckled variety of which reptile endemic to Latin America. Typically brownish or greenish, these reptiles also the name of a group of isles that were once called Los Tortugas.
Galapagos.
Not Galapagos. Shree,
Tortoises.
not tortoises. Aaron.
Cayman.
Cayman is correct. These are kind of
Oh.
alligators or crocodiles. These are named after Cayman Islands. And Sean, your directs first one. In terms of history of artificial intelligence, what are the periods 1974 to 1980 and 1987 to 1993 called? They are characterized by computer scientists having to deal with a severe shortage in funding and publicity. The term was coined by analogy to a term used in relation to nuclear warfare.
Hmm. The AI winter.
That's correct. This is the AI winter. Okay.
Oh, right.
And Sean, your second question. In the Harry Potter universe, what is the name of the celebrated goblin who in 1474 created the only wizarding bank in Great Britain? According to Hagrid, this eponymous bank located around the north side of Diagon Alley is considered the safest place in the world for anything you want to keep safe, except maybe Hogwarts.
Gringotts?
Gringotts Bank is correct. What is Shree? First one. The national bird of Bermuda is a famous example of the Lazarus taxon, having been dramatically rediscovered in 1951, more than 300 years after it was thought to be extinct. It is also called Cahao in Bermuda thanks to its eerie cries. Which order of tube-nosed seabirds with stormy associations does it belong to?
Petrel.
That is correct. This is a petrel, Bermudian petrel. And next one, Shree. In 2015, Ellen DeGeneres launched a party game app played by a group of people in the same room on a mobile device. In the game, all players come up with outrageous fake answers to real trivia questions, from which one has to pick out the real answer. Which party game named so because the goal is to essentially bluff, confuse, and blank your friends?
Is it hoodwink?
Not hoodwink. Aaron?
Pass.
Manav?
Befuddled. Befuddled.
Befuddled. Sean?
Let's not risk it. Pass.
Okay. This is psych your friends.
Oh.
Yeah, fair enough. I would have said something else.
Okay, then Aaron, last two questions of round two. On 26 March 1993, the New York Times printed the photograph known as The Vulture and the Little Girl of a frail, famine-stricken child in what was then Sudan, now South Sudan. Which South African photographer clicked the photograph that got him a Pulitzer Prize, but that scarred him severely?
Carter.
That is correct. This is Kevin Carter.
Hold on.
And last question of round two. What are the team of writers, researchers, and comedians behind QI's shows, books, and podcasts commonly known as? The name was invented by Stephen Fry after Santa's helpers who do most of the work but are hardly seen. The name ultimately refers to a type of humanoid supernatural being in Germanic mythology and folk.
QILs.
QILs is perfect. Starting round three now. Manav, back to you. Your first question. Fiami Naomi Matafa, daughter of the first Prime Minister of her country, won the 2021 elections to become the Prime Minister of which Polynesian island country with its capital at Apia. Her inauguration was not without event as the incumbent Tulepa Seli Meliagoi refused to concede defeat and arranged for the Parliament House to be locked up, with the result that Matafa was sworn in a makeshift tent outside Parliament.
Samoa.
Samoa is correct.
Okay.
And Manav, your second one. The British passion for surveying has led to Indian cities being dotted where 0 stones, marking the spot from which distances to the cities are measured. Where is Kolkata's 0 milestone located? In 1892, Otis installed the first elevator in India here. It was designed on the lines of the Curzon family mansion at Kiddleston Hall, Derbyshire. In a strange coincidence, 100 years after its construction began, George Nathaniel Curzon came to reside here as the Viceroy of India.
Government House or Raj Bhavan?
That is perfect. Government House as Raj Bhavan. The current governor's residence of West Bengal. And so, Sean, your direct first one. Members of SWAPO, Southwest Africa People's Organization, have ruled which country as presidents since its independence from South Africa in 1990? Some of its prominent leaders include Sam Nujoma and Hage Gottfried Geingob.
Maybe.
And that is correct. Your next one. Distances ranging from 500 meters to 10,000 meters are some of the events in what sport that will be held at the 2022 Winter Olympics. The sport is made up of short track, long track, and marathon versions and has been part of the Winter Olympics since 1924. The Netherlands and South Korea have been dominant in recent years.
Speed skating.
That is perfect. This is speed skating. No other answer acceptable. And Shree, your directs now. First one. Which Greek poet made one of the earliest mention of the 9 muses in his 8th century BC poem Theogony, which describes the origins and genealogies of Greek gods?
Homer?
Not Homer. Aaron
Us.
and Sean.
Hesiod.
Hesiod is correct. Even though Homer mentioned muses in his work, all the 9 muses were first mentioned by Hesiod. And Shree, your second one. Fantasia 2000 was a Disney animated concert film, which, like its predecessor Fantasia 1940, comprised animated segments set to pieces of classical music. One of the segments in Fantasia 2000 shows Donald Duck with his wife Daisy assisting Noah in marching animals in sets of 2s inside the ark. Appropriately playing in the background is a segment from which march, whose 3-word title, used commonly as a phrase to represent elaborate formal arrangements, is derived from Shakespeare's Othello.
Bells and whistles?
Not bells and whistles. Aaron?
Pass.
Manav?
Pass.
And Sean?
Pomp and circumstance.
It's perfect. This is Elgar's Pomp
yes.
and Circumstance. Good answer.
Thank you.
And then Aaron, your directs, first one. Which hypothetical supercontinent was formed in Archean eon 3,100 million years ago, and it is first known and confirmed supercontinent. Its very short name comes from the German word for original, while some of its largest preserved parts are now in India. Perfect. Or from Or continent in German. And last question of round 3, Aaron. Who jointly won the Ig Nobel in 2000 for using magnets to levitate a frog? He then won a Nobel Prize in Physics 10 years later for groundbreaking experiments regarding the 2-dimensional material graphene. Interestingly, the technology for China's new low gravity research center was inspired by his Ig Nobel winning experiment.
Woo.
No, that's wrong. Shree?
It's a Gaim.
That's correct. Andre Geim is the sign.
Hold on.
And so we begin round 4. Manav, your first question. The plot of the cult 1985 Japanese film Tampopo mainly deals with the eponymous Tampopo's attempts to master a common Japanese dish, which led to the movie being publicized as the first blank blank. What was it publicized as? A play on a popular subgenre of movies from the 1960s onwards.
So like spaghetti western, so ramen western.
That is good. Good. It's a ramen western from
Very
spaghetti
well done.
western. Very well done. And next one, Manav. In Harry Potter universe, what is the name of the pub that offers food, drinks, and rooms to rent? It was founded by Desi Duderitz in 1500 to serve as a gateway between the non-visiting world and diagonal. In the prison of Azkaban, Harry stays here in room 11, which has a talking mirror and windows that allow him to look out onto the Charing Cross.
Um, Pass.
Pass, okay. Aaron?
The Leaky Cauldron.
That is correct. This is the Leaky Cauldron.
Hold on,
And so-
bad luck.
Sean, your directs.
Me, no.
Which piece by which composer plays in the opening segment of Fantasia 2000, where hundreds of butterflies in various colors explore a world of light and darkness while being pursued rather appropriately by pentagonal bats? Need both piece and composer.
Hmm. I'll proceed my bat. Overture from The Flay the Mouse by Johann Strauss.
Not correct. Shree,
Pass.
Aaron,
Pass.
Manav.
Beethoven's Fifth Symphony.
That is correct. The pentagonal bats, the Fifth Symphony by
Oh, I
Beethoven.
see. Fifth. Fine. That makes sense. Well done,
And-
Manav.
And then Sean, your second one. Which supercontinent that coalesced around 1 billion years ago preceded the more famous Pangea? It eventually got its name, or its more popular name, from the Russian word for motherland or birthplace. Knowing the local name of the tallest statue in Europe will help get to the answer.
I can't remember. Let's pass.
Okay, going to Shree.
Rodina.
That is correct. This is Rodina, Rotinia, both are acceptable.
Well
Of course, from the motherland statue in Russia.
done. Should remember that.
And then Shree, staying with you for your directs. First one. In what was probably the most one-sided presidential elections of 2021, which incumbent president of war-torn Syria polled over 95% of votes to continue as a president for a fourth term, with a number of international observers calling out the election itself as a fraudulent exercise.
Bashar al-Assad.
It's correct. And so Shree, your second direct. Built during the Great Trigonometrical Survey in 1907, the zero milestone in which Indian city consists of a small stone representing the GTS standard benchmark. While there is no verifiable evidence that it is a monument at the geographical center of the colonial India, the city in question is almost equidistant to 4 of India's major metros.
Is it Nagpur?
That is Nagpur. Good answer.
Well done.
Did not get confused with MP cities. Well done. And so Aaron,
That's where I
your
was
direct-
going.
Yeah. And so Aaron, your directs of round 4. Created by AI pioneer Joseph Weissenbaum, what was the name of the computer program created in 1966, today considered the original chatbot? It was named after a working class character of Anjanu from a 1913 play, which was itself inspired by Greek myth.
Pygmalion.
No, Manav.
Oh, Eliza Eliza Doolittle.
Yeah, it's called Eliza. That's fine.
Eliza is correct.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's, yeah, okay.
It's named after a yeah.
Actually, it's just Eliza, no? Eliza
It's-
Doolittle shouldn't, I don't know, is there a prompt thing there?
It's just
Yeah, I feel-
Eliza, but yeah,
I think it's fine.
I think it's fine.
Yeah.
gave both, so I
Please
accepted
heal.
finally.
He said
Knowledge
Eliza.
there,
He
yeah.
said Eliza,
said
and I
Eliza.
can't go forward again anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's okay.
he did say Eliza first.
Yeah.
I think that's fine.
And so, Aaron, your final question. Sidney Poitier's second rated role was as Rev MC Mangu in 1951 movie, wherein a rarity for its time. All the main roles were played by black actors, with the supporting cast being white. Of course, posters at the time would represent only the supporting cast. Which movie, based on Alan Patron's 1948 novel of the same name, is this?
Pass.
Okay, Sean.
Cry the beloved country.
That is perfect. This is Cry the Beloved Country. Halfway through the quiz, we have Sean on lead at 10, Aaron and Manav on 7 each, Shree on 6, close all around. So Manav, starting round 5, first question to you. The Valley of the Shadow of Death is a war photograph taken in 1852 in Crimea, close to where the charge of the Light Brigade took place. Which British photographer clicked this image, considered to be the first major war photo in human history?
Fenton?
Perfect. This is
Well
Roger
done.
Fenton. Very well done. And your next one, Manav. Normal hill and large hill for both individuals and teams are events in what sport that will be held at the 2022 Winter Olympics? In 2022, a mixed team normal hill event will take place for the first time ever at the Kuyangshu Center. Like other Nordic disciplines, this sport was first held in Norway in the 19th century.
Pass.
Okay, Aaron,
Pass.
Shree,
Pass.
and Sean.
Slalom.
Sorry,
Slalom.
no. This is
Yeah.
ski jumping.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I overthought that. Oh.
Yeah.
You all did.
Okay, then Sean, your directs now. First one.
Fine.
Out of all the wonderful food shown in Hayao Miyazaki's films, the bento box of My Neighbor Totoro are probably the most iconic examples. The crowning glory of the box is an umeboshi, or picked plum, placed on the bed of a fluffy white rice. What is this arrangement, also called Hinamoro bento, a reference to?
Oh, crowning glory. The chrysanthemum throne or whatever.
No,
I don't know.
Aaron?
Japanese flag.
That is correct. White with red center. This is the Japanese flag.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Well,
Sean, your next direct. In 1961, Sidney Poitier started with Ruby Dee in the film adaptation of which play by Lorraine Hansberry, which in turn gets its title from the poem Harlem by Langston Hughes. Poitier and Dee had in their younger days starred in the original Broadway cast, which exceeded all expectations by running to 530 performances.
A Raisin in the Sun.
A Rising in the Sun is perfect. And younger was the surname of the central characters, and that's why it's highlighted a bit. And so Shree, your directs, first one. The opening sequence of QI features multiple images, but apart from the photos of creator John Lloyd's children, there is only one more photograph of a real-life person. Who was this individual who was also Time Man of the Year in 1930 and was in prison at the time of that announcement?
Gandhi.
This is Mahatma Gandhi. Well done. And final question, Shree, this round. The 2004 Ig Nobel Prize in Chemistry was presented to the British branch of which famous company for using advanced technology to convert ordinary tap water into dasar, a transparent form of water which for precautionary reasons has been made unavailable to consumers?
This is Coke brand. So Coca-Cola.
Yeah, Coca-Cola is correct. And so Aaron, your directs, first one. Incumbent President Idris Deby in Parsons 1990 won the April 2021 elections to start off a sixth term as president of which African country? This term would be short-lived as he would be killed in battle, probably the only elected president thus, only days after his win, while leading his country's troops against the rebel front for the Change and Concord Blank, who came down from Fezzan in southern Libya.
Chad.
That is Chad. And final question of the round, Aaron. In one of the most spectacular examples of Lazarus taxon, which fish was rediscovered in southern Africa and later in the Comoros Island in Indonesia, even though it was believed to have gone extinct 66 million years ago. More closely related to tetrapods than fish, the name translates to hollow spine in Greek.
Coelacanth.
Coelacanth is correct. Well done. So we're starting round 6. Manav, back to you. First question. Which muse of history and also of lyre playing lends her name to an annual advertising awards program introduced in 1960 and acquired by Evolution Media in 2017?
Pandora?
Not Pandora, Shree.
Cleo.
Clio is correct. These are the CELO awards.
Sorry.
And so, Manav, your second question. Combining psychology research with his duties teaching high school students, a Moscow University professor created this social deduction game in 1986. The game is modeled on a conflict between two groups, an informed minority and an uninformed majority of villagers, that take place in two alternating phases of night and day. Which party game is this, which has roles like seer, protector, and masons?
Can't remember. I know this, but I can't remember this.
No guesses? Okay, I'll pass you then. Aaron?
Werewolf.
Acceptable answer. Mafia and werewolf both are acceptable answers.
There we are.
And so,
Nice.
Sean, your questions now. First one. Which member of Monty Python was initially set to host QI, with Stephen Fry and Alan Davis heading up Team Clever and Team Stupid? He claims he did not take it up because he thought it would be so successful that he would not be able to focus on his travel-related activities. The following year, he released a book and a documentary detailing his travels to the Himalayas.
Palin.
That is correct. This is Michael Palin. And your final direction. Having won the presidential election in 2021, Gabriel Boric is set to succeed Sebastian Pinera and will be inaugurated in March 2022 as the president of which South American country, and will then become the second youngest serving head of state or government at the age of 36. Of Croatian ancestry, Boric currently represents the Magallanes region in the Chamber of Deputies.
Chile.
That is correct. We have Giacomo Simocini of San Marino at 27 is the youngest, so he'll become the second youngest.
Let's go.
And so, Shree, your direct's first one. In 1972, Associated Press published the photograph known as The Terror of War, featuring a 9-year-old unclothed girl running towards the camera after escaping a napalm bombing in her town during the Vietnam War. Which Vietnamese American photographer took the photo that won him a Pulitzer Prize?
Nguyen.
That's. Can you repeat? Sorry.
Nguyen. Nguyen.
No. Aaron
Pass.
and Manav.
Nick Wood.
Nick Ut is correct. It's just Nick Ut.
Well,
Huan Kong Ut is his full name. And Shree, your second one. Which ancient supercontinent, not to be confused with the personification of USA, that is said to have existed 2,500 to 1,500 million years ago, was also called Nuna or Hudson. In it, Western North America was attached to the east coast of India.
Shit, Colombia.
It is Colombia. And so we go to Aaron's directs now. Aaron, first one. The use of Philip Glass's music for a 2011 documentary was described as a metaphor for Jiro Ono's work ethic because it's repetitive, but also builds on itself and escalates. Every day he is doing the same routine, exactly the same, but reaching for that one step of improvement. What item is Jiro dreaming of and repeatedly making in this film?
Origami.
No. Shree?
Sushi.
That is correct.
Jiro Dreams of
Jiro
Sushi.
Dreams of Sushi is the name of the documentary. And so last question of round 6, Aaron. Downhill, Super G, Giant Slalom, and Slalom are some of the events in what sport that will be held at the 2022 Winter Olympics? A mixed team event has been held at the 2018 Olympics and will take place in 2022 as well. The sports makes use of fixed heel bindings in contrast to cross country and telemark.
It's just skiing,
I'll prompt you.
ski racing, downhill ski racing.
You said downhill skiing. Good enough. Downhill skiing is an acceptable answer.
Ski-
Alpine
Downhill
skiing.
is in the question.
It's there.
That's why it's yeah, okay.
Alpine skiing is the answer, and downhill skiing is acceptable.
Yeah, sorry. Oh,
And so 2 more rounds to go. We have Sean on 13, Aaron on 12, Shree on 11, and Manav on 9. Still pretty close all around. Manav, your first question of round 7. Sidney Poitier and Dorothy Dandridge appeared in which film adaptation of a 1935 opera? The opera itself was revolutionary for the time, given that all the major roles were played in summertime or otherwise by classically trained African-American singers. Interestingly, Poitier's singing voice was dubbed by Bobby McFerrin Sr.
Porgy and Bess. Porgy and Bess.
Is correct. Summertime being the song featured in Porgy and Bess. And so now your second question. In 2016, which German car company got the Ig Nobel Prize for solving the problem of excessive automobile pollution emissions by automatically electromechanically producing fewer emissions whenever the cars are being tested?
Volkswagen.
Is correct. This is the Volkswagen emission scandal. So going to Sean, your direct first one. In 2019, in a case of the Lazarus taxon, a lone female of this species was rediscovered on Fernandina Island, part of the Galapagos archipelago, a century after they were declared extinct. She is the only known specimen belonging to a species of what animal, of which 15 different species can be found on other islands of the archipelago?
yeah, that's 1 or 2 then, isn't it? Finch.
No. Aaron?
Tortoise.
It's a tortoise.
Well,
Giant tortoise
fine.
of Fernandina.
That's what I thought originally. But, oh,
And so Sean, your second question.
I feel like I've thrown it away now, but oh well.
This spoken parallel game's most popular variant, Animal, Vegetable, Mineral, not to be confused with the paper game Name, Place, Animal Thing played in India, involves the participant confirming to the host in the hot seat which group the answer belongs to. Which party game is this, which came to prominence via radio, featuring sportscaster Bill Slater as the host?
This is just 20 questions.
It is 20 questions. Nothing much there.
I can't believe I didn't say 2 offers. Oh,
And so Shree, your direct now, first one. Isaias Afwerki of the People's Front for Democracy and Justice has ruled as the president of each African country since 1991. PFDJ is the sole legal political party in this country and is a successor of the blank People's Liberation Front or EPLF.
Eritrea.
Eritrea is correct. And next one, Shree. In Harry Potter universe, Ilop's Blank Emporium is a shop in Diagon Alley that sells what? In Philosopher's Stone, the shop is described as dark and one can see the flickering of jewel bright eyes in it. It is from here that Hagrid purchased a memorable birthday gift for Harry.
It's Owl Emporium.
That is correct. Hedwig. Hagrid purchases Hedwig there.
Hedwig.
And so last 2 questions of round 7, Aaron. According to myth, the 9 muses were daughters of Zeus and which goddess? This goddess of memory is also the source for a word that describes any learning technique that aids information retention or retrieval in the human memory for better understanding.
Mnemonic.
Prompt you.
Mnesme.
Yeah, I think I can give it to you.
No.
No? Okay. Okay, Manav, go for it.
Mnemosyne.
Okay.
S9. Yeah.
Okay. SYNE, not SYME. Sorry, Aaron.
Good answer.
So close.
All right.
Sorry.
Okay, one more round to go with 2 points separating everyone. I think that's why the no shout came out. So Sean at 14, Aaron at 14, Shree at 13, and Manav at 12. Manav, your last 2 questions. First one.
Okay.
One of the segments in Fantasia 2000 involves flamingos failing to convince one of the younger maids to fall in line with their dull routine. There is much frivolity throughout, accompanied by what piece, which was published only after the composer's death in December 1921, since he did not want the piece to diminish his standing as a serious composer. What happened? 1 second. I think, Aaron, did you get your last question?
No, Manav got it.
No, but is there you? I'm just checking the question. Seventh round player for question 2 did not come to you. Let me go
I
back.
misspelled. I misspelled
Yeah,
the
that
name
is the
of
first one. That is the first one.
me.
No, that was your first question. You didn't
That
get
was
the
the first
second,
question.
that's the
Just
point.
give me. Okay. Wow.
Oh,
Okay, so
Okay.
this is yours. Wrong.
that was wrong.
Goes to Manav.
Okay.
And this is your question.
Mhm.
Here we
Okay.
are.
The 0 mile point in which Indian city serves as the technical starting point for 3 primary roads in the city. The NH45 that winds down to Tiruchirappalli, the NH4 that takes off westwards to Bangalore, and the NH5 that sticks to the coast all the way to Kolkata. It falls on the southwestern side of the Fort St. George.
Pondicherry.
No. Sean?
Pass.
Shree?
Pass.
Manav?
Chennai. Madras.
Chennai is correct.
Oh,
And so now, Manav, we come to your question. So it's still closer now. One of the
Still
segments in
less.
Fantasia 2000 involves some flamingos failing to convince one of the younger maids to fall in line with their dull routine. There is much frivolity throughout, accompanied by what piece, which was published only after the composer's death in December 1921, since he did not want the piece to diminish his standing as a serious composer. I think.
Carnival of Animals?
Yeah, well done.
That is correct. This is Carnival of Animals by Seoan. And so your last question, Manav. Artificial intelligence arguably entered households for the first time with this product launched in 2002. What is the name of this robotic vacuum cleaners, which their maker's iRobot followed up with the floor scrubbing robots called Scuba?
Zumbas?
No. Sean?
Roombas.
Roombas are correct. Sorry, Manav.
Bad luck.
And so
Yes,
Sean
just realised.
staying with you for your directs.
I've got 2 hard ones. I don't know.
Yeah. The Magnificent 11 are a group of photos of D-Day, 6 June 1944, that survived a processing accident at Life magazine's office in London. Which Hungarian war photographer also one of the founders of Magnum Photos, clicked these images?
Kappa.
That is correct. This is Robert Capa. And your final direction. Where is Delhi's 0 Mile Point located? Originally, it was a historic set of steps leading to the west bank of the Yamuna River in Old Delhi or Shahjahanabad. The site is along the ring road, which has officially been renamed after the earliest person memorialized at the site.
Well, I don't know. Pass.
Okay, Shree, you
Pass.
didn't answer. Okay, Aaron, you didn't answer.
Pass.
And Manav,
Rajghat.
Rajghat is
After
correct.
Mahatma
This is the
Gandhi.
Mahatma
Well
Gandhi Memorial and all.
Yeah.
Okay, Shree, your directs now. First one. Which country was the birthplace of the first intelligent humanoid robot named Wabot-1? As per a 2018 report, this country had more than 3 robots for each person in manufacturing industry. One of the highest in the world, its integration of AI is likely to be faster than most countries due to its shrinking and aging populations.
Japan.
And that is correct. Your final question, Shree. Which Olympic event took place in 2 or 4 person versions till 2018? As of 2022, a new women's solo event will be held, marking the first such event at the Olympics. The sport is governed by FIBT, which also governs luge.
Hmm.
Is it toboggan?
No, Aaron,
Bobsleigh.
that is correct. This is bobsleigh. Well done.
Yeah, all right.
And Aaron, your last 2 questions. I think still tight up at the top. The only piece to appear in both the original 1940 Fantasia and Fantasia 2000, which composition by Paul Duca based on a Goethe poem, plays as Mickey Mouse learns and later applies the tricks of the trade from his master, the magician Yen Sid, Disney in reverse.
The Sorcerer's Apprentice.
That is perfect. This is Sorcerer's Apprentice. And the final question for the tie, Aaron. In the Harry Potter universe, which shop in Diagon Alley has makers of fine bonds since 382 BC, written in bold letters over the door? It is owned by the eponymous, pale-eyed, white-haired shopkeeper.
Ollivanders.
And
Yeah, well done.
Well done.
Can't
all. We
believe
have
us.
a tie,
At least I got the
pretty
tie.
close all around. Sean and Aaron finish on 16 each. Manav just behind on 15. Shree just behind on 14. Unfortunately, someone has to finish 4th. See this.
Yeah, well.
Well played
Good
all.
game.
Good game.
Yeah, good game, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Good game.